Hello, Internet. I'm Poker. With me is that chum with the opposable thumb, Liquor. And welcome to another episode of Personified, a look at all things anthropomorphic from a puppet's perspective. And to be perfectly honest, I'm not feeling so good today. Well, the last episode kind of left a bad taste in my mouth. Ugh, don't remind me. I need some eye bleach and stat. Something pure and innocent. Something like a kid's movie. And I know just the type, too. Dinosaurs. I fucking love dinosaurs. I always have. Back when I was a kid, I was a dinosaur fanatic. I had dinosaur books, dinosaur models, dinosaur video games. Fuck, I even had dinosaur pajamas. And you know what? I wasn't the only one. Everyone had a serious dino boner back then. The US seemed to gain some weird dinosaur fixation, and it didn't just start with 1993's Jurassic Park. Oh no. Starting in the late 80s and lasting us all the way through the 90s, we had dinosaurs up the yin-yang. And you know another obsession we had back then? Anthropomorphic heroes. You had your Thundercats, your Tiger Sharks, and of course your Ninja Turtles. But more than anything else, there were dinosaurs. Dinosaurs the TV show, Extreme Dinosaurs, Cadillacs and Dinosaurs, Dino Saucers. Shit, even the Transformers had dinosaurs. If somebody pitched an idea for a Saturday morning cartoon back then, the first question asked was how many dinosaurs can we add? And with the success of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie in 1990, it was only a matter of time before someone decided to try the same shit with dinosaurs. And that's what I've got for us today. Ladies and gents, I give you Adventures in Dinosaur City.
Long ago, back before our time, way before there were turtles.
Oh yeah, they went there.
The world was ruled by dinosaurs.
This thing looks like complete shit, but come on. It's so dumbed down and saccharine sweet it's got NBC Movie of the Week written all over it. There can't be a drop of adult content in this one, and I'd be willing to put money on that. What'd you have in mind, Liquor? Ha! You're on. He's not getting a dime out of me on this, folks. Roll the footage! Roll the footage. The movie begins with a credit sequence set to a series of poorly drawn comics of cavemen, followed by a title card so 90s Saved by the Bell asked him to tone it down a bit. Wait, Omri Katz? As in... This movie's gonna hurt my childhood, isn't it? So how does a movie about butt-kicking anthropomorphic dinosaurs begin? Why, with a teenage girl reading her fan fiction, of course. No, I'm not kidding.
Rick stared into her eyes for a long time. Then his great green lips curled sadly back from his fangs.
I don't know what's worse, the dramatic read of a dinosaur's declaration of love or the intense expression on the other kid's face. Wow, this shit's better than the My Little Pony story she read last week.
Arachnophobia alert!
So the youngest, Timmy, steals the book from Jamie and begins reading a diary excerpt about Mick.
What I wouldn't give just to hold his Timmy hand.
Well, that didn't take very long at all, did it? Anyway, the diary entry turns out to be a fake.
These are just dinosaur stories. You little hornhead.
Oh, and that's another thing. This movie is full of dinosaur slang.
Dude, volcanic.
It's one thing to have the Ninja Turtles spout surfer lingo. That shit's actually a thing. This is just, what's the word I'm thinking of?
It's totally bogus.
Right, thank you, Mikey. Anyway, we cut to the parents, who we learn are scientists of some kind, as they prepare their homemade experiment.
We've done it.
We've successfully invented bad CGI. I realize this was made for TV and 20 years old, but come on. This shit makes Windows Movie Maker look good. Which isn't hard considering it's the best home editing software around. Don't be a hater. Windows Movie Maker is where it's at, dog. We cut back to the kids, who are totally stoked to watch a new tape of their favorite cartoon show, Dinosaurs, which looks to be a poorly animated ripoff of the Flintstones. Seriously, how do these people not get sued? And then there's this stupid dance they do. Either they're having a joint psychotic episode or the Numa Numa dance came out a decade early.
See, Jamie, if you're gonna be a real writer, this is what you gotta write.
Well, she's writing nothing but fan fiction about a shit series and changing the details to make it sound like her own original work. So I'd say she's there already. Back in the lab, the parents pack up their squashed orange and recorded data to take with them to a science conference, leaving their dangerous equipment running in their private residence so they can complete their experiments as soon as they return. You know, just like real scientists do.
You can stay here, or you can stay at Dick's.
Mix.
Right.
Wait, Mick's house? You mean he's not Timmy's brother? Well, I guess he's just hanging out with him so he can get close to his older sister, Jamie. So the parents make Timmy promise not to go into their lab before they leave.
Oh, the lab. Oh, no. Don't worry. I'll take care of it.
Which he immediately does before they even make it out of the driveway. No sitter in an unlocked lab with the power to bend the laws of physics. Or as I like to call it, the 90s. And why are they sneaking into the lab filled with dangerous equipment, you might ask?
We're gonna watch dinosaurs on the big TV in the lab.
This is the dumbest group of kids I have ever seen.
I know your parents are supposed to be like these brilliant scientists or something.
Wait, your parents? You mean she's not his sister? You're telling me two kids who look old enough to be sending out college applications are hanging out with a 12-year-old and following his lead when he takes them into his neglectful parents' extremely dangerous lab. Why is stupidity this severe not painful? So they fire up the TV, Timmy grabs the wrong remote, and of course hijinks ensue.
What button did you push, Timmy? Shut it off!
Wait a minute. Something's really fucking familiar about all this.
When Wayne Selinsky accidentally shrinks his kids.
They're ripping off Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Are you kidding me? What, the Flintstones wasn't enough for you? To do it at all is one thing, but to do it so blatantly. The two scenes are almost identical. They even both have exploding fruit. What are you gonna rip off next, Scooby-Doo? Anyway, the kids are pulled through the shittiest looking vortex this side of 1960s Doctor Who and find themselves thrown into a rejected room from Legends of the Hidden Temple. It doesn't take them long to realize they're not in Kansas anymore, as they immediately meet a talking dinosaur who they positively identify as a character from the cartoon named Quarry.
Hey, what in the hot lava's going on here?
Oh yeah, the resemblance is uncanny. But they're given no time to wonder what's going on as the little lizard notices a gang of cavemen on their way.
The Rockies!
Hide.
Oh, come on, they had to have seen you. So the Rockies banter with Quarry, and it turns out they're in a power station for a dinosaur metropolis called Sar City. The Rockies, led by Link, are under orders from someone named Mr. Big to steal Sar City's power supply for themselves.
Wait, if you take that, the cooling units on the lava tanks won't work, and we'll be looking at a complete meltdown of Source City in less than 24 hours.
You know, when security's so lax that a small gang of humans can waltz right in and take the one fucking fuse that is apparently responsible for keeping the lava that threatens your entire civilization at bay, I think some policy changes might be in order.
Wow!
Oh, come on, that wasn't adult content. That was just a dinosaur ogling a cave girl's ass. Anyway, the Rockies take the fuse and leave behind one of their own to stand guard and make sure no one tries to turn the power back on. And what does he do? Well, he immediately falls asleep, of course. Truly, they have chosen their best and brightest to take on this important task. The trio of children make their way out of the power station, making the assumption the fuse is what they need to return to their own world. They then rightfully blame Timmy for their troubles.
Timmy, this is all your fault.
You crazy? After all I've done for you?
I've broken into my parents' lab, played with dangerous equipment, taken us to an alternate dimension, and stranded us here with no way to get back. They then catch up with Quarry and try to convince him they're on his side by reminding him of his past failures.
Hey, Forry, you think you can't fly because you got hurt, but we know it's all in your head.
Do you think maybe I could have your autograph before we leave? You're kind of my hero.
You know, I'm starting to see why this guy hangs out with 12-year-olds. They then try to convince Quarry to lead them to Rex, the cartoon's main hero. Looking at a map, they realize the most direct route to Tartown, Rex's home, is through a graveyard. But Quarry warns them away from this course of action.
Once they go in, no reptile is ever left alive.
So of course the children, lost in a place they only know from cartoons, agree to follow the advice of a native inhabitant. Just kidding. They ignore his advice, choosing instead to straight up kidnap Quarry and force him to come along.
And you're coming with us, whether you like it or not.
Hey, what are you doing? Watch the wings.
Meanwhile, we get our first look at Mr. Big as he murders one of the Rockies for letting a dinosaur escape, and...
Take it away.
Oh, come on, he's totally a dinosaur. Meanwhile, the kids make their way into the dinosaur graveyard, skirting the statue of Dino Reaper. Sure, why not? And Mick regales them with tales from his childhood as they cross a river over a dinosaur skeleton.
Water. I've always hated water. When I was 6, I went swimming. My brothers held my head underwater. My brother's friends held my head underwater. Oh, I love water. Oh, this just...
Every minute this guy isn't getting punched in the stomach, an earthquake occurs somewhere in the world to balance out the sudden lack of gravitational shift. Mick's whining is cut short when they are attacked by... Oh, come on. That is obviously a model of a snake. Jesus, if you're going to be cheap, the least you can do is be accurate. But they manage to escape by walking away quickly, and as dawn approaches, they find themselves in Tartown.
Looking for action, big boy?
So the kids grab some seeds, and a musical number begins.
Been ages since you came around my cave.
Hey, they're cave women. That could be taken literally, you know.
Now I make plenty of time with other guys, but none of them, baby, have your club.
So after some awkward forced dancing and oh-so hilarious misunderstandings about dinosaur drinks, we finally meet one of our supposed heroes, Tops. Dude, he's totally copying a feel. I walked right into that one. Anyway, they follow Tops back to a card game and Rex himself. The kids try to convince him to help, but it seems Rex has history.
Considering the way those leaf eaters in Source City feel about my father, they're not gonna back me in a fight against the Rockies.
Forry calls Rex a coward, but before he can stomp the little guy's beak in, the Rockies show up to wreck the party.
Big trouble.
Things go south fast when one of the Rockies insults Rex and a fight breaks out. Mick has to come to Jamie's defense.
I got a loaded gun!
And suddenly realizing he's good at fighting, sets out to kick wholesale ass. Because remember kids, violence is fun. And now you're ripping off Scooby-Doo. Why, that would be the bottom of a barrel being scraped liquor. So of course the heroes win, and Jamie loses the one thing preventing her from being attractive. But it's no sweat for Jamie, who gets over being nearsighted so fast, it's almost as if her glasses were useless to begin with. It was the 90s. This sort of thing happened a lot back then. So, because violence solves everything, Rex suddenly decides he's going to help the kids, and he and Tops agree to lead them back to Source City. Meanwhile, Mr. Big is warned about Rex and the others, and sends out a squad of men to stop them. The heroes return to Source City, where everyone is evacuating as the meltdown looms.
They're evacuating the city before the power plant goes. We should have until dawn, though. Come on.
So with no time left to lose, the heroes race to Mr. Big's tower to defeat the bad guy and retrieve the missing fuse before the sun comes up. Just kidding. They ignore the looming disaster and go to Quarry's house for some rest and relaxation. They begin explaining their world to the dinos, but it's too much for fragile Mick to take. I'd say this kid's constant whining has earned him a swift kick in the nuts by now. Jesus Christ! I realize advanced animatronics is a difficult thing to master, but is it too much to ask for you to make sure his fucking eyes align? So Timmy joins Rex on lookout as Jamie rushes to comfort Mick.
You've changed since you've been here.
Yeah?
You don't complain as much as you did before.
Except for all the complaining you just did.
Mom and Dad's experiments sent us here. Maybe everything we make up is alive somewhere else.
Huh?
God, I hope not. Otherwise there's a universe out there where Honey Boo Boo's a real little girl. What? So while Jamie and Mick suck face, Rex invites Timmy to go out for a midnight boat ride.
Where are we going?
You'll see.
Oh God, don't do it, Timmy. He's a T-Rex. The only way you're coming back is inside his stomach. And while Timmy's fate is left unknown, we cut to Mr. Big, who has revealed himself at last to be a dinosaur. Wow, I'm so fucking shocked. We return to Timmy as Rex leads him to
Skull Island. We're going into the heart of it.
I was wrong, Timmy. He's not gonna eat you. He's gonna sacrifice you to Kong. But no, Rex instead takes Timmy to a statue of his father.
Traitor.
It turns out that Rex's father was instrumental in defeating the Allosaurs in a great war, but handed over Soar City to Mr. Big, the last Allosaur, and then disappeared. And I'm sure there won't be any sort of bullshit excuse for weaseling out at this plot point later on. We then cut to the Rockies as...
You got to see the Leinster in action with his big club.
Yeah, that's not the kind of action I had in mind.
This is getting old, movie. Rex and Timmy return as the Rockies sneak up on them. A really shitty fight scene happens, and Timmy finds... where the fuck did the remote come from? The last time we saw it was when they first arrived, and I know I didn't see anybody pick it up then.
We laid them out like turtles.
No, you don't deserve the dignity of a joke for that one. Bad movie. Bad. Timmy is cornered by one of the Rockies when... You have got to be fucking kidding me.
What is that power?
Why, that's the power of bad writing, and is particularly dangerous in the hands of movie directors.
I want it now, Link! Now!
So Timmy gets nabbed while the rest are somewhere else for some reason, and he's taken back to Mr. Big's tower. The others discover Timmy's disappearance, and Mick finds the remote's batteries. Jamie and Mick don disguises, and the four enter the tower, taking the elevator down into the dungeons to search for their missing friend. Realizing they have to subdue the two guards on duty lest they sound the alarm, the heroes...
Hey, Mick, is that Remperingus in your coat? Or are you just happy to see me?
Okay, but that's the last one, right? I mean, they can't possibly sink any lower than that.
Excuse me, boys. I was looking for somebody who was supposed to be getting off.
You know what? Fine. Liquor, you can have the entire contents of my wallet for all I care. You could have inspired some childlike innocence in me, movie, but oh no. You had to cram as much sexual innuendo into this thing as you possibly could. Well, fuck you, movie. Fuck you. So, Jamie the Cape Slut knocks out the two horny guards, much to Mick's surprise.
Little Miss Muffet makes her first knockout.
That line makes no fucking sense. They spread out and start loudly calling for Timmy, since the guards who are apparently close enough to hear a ringing bell are somehow deaf to shouting.
Timmy!
Instead of Timmy, however, they find Rex's long-lost father.
Big allied with the forces of the Rockies, and he had a potion that could bend anyone to his will.
You were drugged?
And forced to hand Saw City over.
And naturally wary of the father he has long thought to be a traitor to his people, Rex is reluctant to believe. Or that. So less than a minute after being reunited, and without even asking why Rex is there, Rex's father relays his plan to destroy the tower and Mr. Big along with it.
Beneath our feet is an immense lava pool held back by a cap. It will take me a few moments to open it.
Rex's father then departs, and Rex and the others take the elevator back up.
You guys realize how big this tower is? Where do you even start to look for either one?
Yeah, she's right. It could take them hours to find the one room in the entire tower where Mr. Big is keeping Timmy. And there's no telling Mr. Big or the fuse would even be in the same place. And of course the doors open and they find all three at once.
This is your last chance!
Go jump into a tar pit!
Enough of this! Give him the potion!
The mind control potion? Why didn't you just do that first? So there's more shitty fighting, and Jamie and the blonde cave girl have a pathetic scuffle over the remote. Meanwhile, Rex finally squares off against Mr. Big. And this is it. The big showdown between the vengeful son and the one responsible for his father's dishonor. Truly this will be a fight to remember. Truly this will be the greatest conflict since Luke and Vader, since David and Goliath, since...
Raider, dude.
Fuck you, movie. But it's good news for everyone, as apparently Mr. Big wasn't too well liked.
Free?
And speed!
Gimme claw.
But it's not over yet, as Quarry discovers removing the fuse will render the elevators inoperable. Then how the hell did they work before they got it? Don't tell me they were walking up and down stairs all this time. Obvious plot holes aside, they realize the only way to return the fuse in time is for everyone to take the elevator down, then have Quarry fly it out. But will he overcome his fear of flying and save the day? Yes, the answer is yes. Yes, the heroes make it down to the ground floor as Quarry removes the fuse and flies it to safety. And with Mr. Big dead and the fuse retrieved, now is when Rex rushes to inform his father he doesn't have to destroy the tower. Just kidding. Rex makes absolutely no use of the copious amounts of time they apparently have. While underground, his father opens the vent and blows the now villainless tower to pieces, rendering his death completely pointless. The heroes rush back to the power plant, where they easily dispatch the guard who's apparently been asleep for over 24 hours. The group says their goodbyes, but Timmy doesn't want to leave.
I'm gonna stay with you, Rex.
Timmy, what about the people in our world who would miss you?
You entitled little shit! Everything that's happened over the course of this movie has been your fucking fault. Jamie could have been raped, Mick could have been drowned or eaten, and you could have found yourself the mindless slave of a tyrannical dictator. Shit, you almost provided him with the means to take over their entire world. If you didn't have people in your life who give enough of a shit about you to risk their own lives to rescue your ass, all of this probably would have come true. And after all this time, you haven't learned a goddamn thing. Go back to your own world and grow the fuck up before you ruin this one. Yeah, well, he deserved it. Anyway, Rex and the others convince the little brat that home is where he belongs. Quarry installs the fuse, but...
For Source City, maybe. Not for us.
I don't get it.
It's the fucking remote, you little shits! Ugh. I'm starting to think Timmy's right. This really is where they belong, since apparently they're all about as smart as Neanderthals. But Timmy finally pieces it together and opens the doorway home. We have one more bout of awkwardness. Then the three make their way to the portal. After one last-minute fake-out...
Wait, Timmy?
Timmy?
Timmy returns to the others just in time to greet his parents as they come home from the conference.
Timmy, are you...
Well, they didn't believe us. So I'm afraid we have a lot of work to do before we send a human through.
And we fade to credits as Timmy risks his parents' lives to show him how he risked his own. And that's Adventures in Dinosaur City. Wow, what a joke. Now, I'll give credit where credit is due. They had a pretty good idea here. It was sort of a precursor to Schwarzenegger's Magic Ticket, and it works on paper. I can't fault this movie for how incredibly juvenile it is. I mean, it's a fucking kids movie. The special effects were bad, but this was direct-to-video after all. Hell, with the right script, they might have had something at least worth sitting your whiny kids in front of just to shut them up for 80 minutes. Where I can fault it, however, is with everything else. The shit dialogue, the needlessly adult innuendos, and let's not forget how many times this thing rips off other, much better work. The children are dumb as shit and only make it through the movie because their enemies are somehow even dumber. The finale is obvious sequel bait and desperately pleads for a cartoon spin-off, but this barely passes the bar for its contemporaries, with several instantly springing to mind that would make whoever churned out this turd pee his pants in shame. And double shame on them for taking so many potshots at the Ninja Turtles. They wish they're even half as much of a threat to the Turtles' popularity as they apparently want you to think they are. As it stands, they're about as much a threat to them as I am to the nostalgia critic. Well, that's it for this episode, folks. Personified is going on a 2-week hiatus while I move into my new place, but after that it'll be Halloween month, and I've got plenty planned for that. Until then, I'm Poker, this is Liquor, and stay tectonic, my Cretaceous comrades.
When Rockies come around displaying wicked wits and evil games, Rosie shows its mighty force and puts us on the righteous course. Dinosaur!